Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has called on Israel to, quote, immediately stop this madness and end its attacks on targets in Gaza. A rally in Istanbul in support of Palestinians was expected to be one of the largest global demonstrations since the start of Israel's war against Hamas. It was organized by Erdogan's Islamic-conservative AK party, a day ahead of the 100-year anniversary of Turkey's founding. For more, let's bring in DW correspondent Julia Hahn in Istanbul. Julia, does this mean Turkey is now clearly taking sides after initially being seen as a potential mediator in this war?
Well, Michael, the Turkish government has never been a neutral voice in this conflict. President Erdogan and his ruling AKP are fervent supporters of the Palestinian cause. They have mobilized their supporters for days to attend this massive rally here in Istanbul today. The president is expected to speak any minute, and he will probably reinforce his growing criticism of Israel's bombardment of the Gaza Strip. Earlier on social media today, he told people, and I quote him, to stand alongside the Palestinians loud and clear against Israel's oppression. And I think this is setting the stage for today. At the same time, I think the Istanbul rally is sending a very concerning message of support for Hamas. Erdogan has good relations with Hamas's political leadership. He has hosted and met with Hamas officials here in the country. And earlier this week, he has made it crystal clear where he stands. He said he does not view Hamas as a terrorist organization, but, and I quote him again, as liberators fighting for their own land. I think that shows where he stands, that he fundamentally disagrees with Israel on this and with most of his Western allies who have designated Hamas a terrorist organization years ago.
Always been behind the Palestinian cause, as you put it, but up until this point, his tone has been, shall we say, a little bit more muted. What's behind Erdogan's change in tone?
Well, now I think he is really trying to stoke his political base. But yes, right after Hamas's atrocities against Israeli civilians on October 7th, we heard a more conciliatory tone from Erdogan, which analysts say had to do with the fact that he was recently trying to repair long-strained relations with the Israeli government. There were talks about a gas pipeline project. He even met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the sidelines of the UN General Assembly just in September, but that now seems to be off the table as Israel intensifies its response attacks on the Gaza Strip. Erdogan has really hardened his tone. He said he has cancelled a planned trip and visit to Israel. Israel has called it back its diplomats from Turkey and has told citizens to leave the country amid security concerns. One of the interesting questions here in Turkey is, to which extent does Erdogan's vocal support for Hamas and him taking a clear side really reflect public opinion here in the country? A recent poll suggests that a majority of Turkish people would rather like to see their government to take a more neutral stance.
So what's Turkey's suggestion then to end this war and bring peace to the region?
Well, the Turkish government has advocated for a two-state solution, but right now, as the fighting still rages on, they have been pressing for a humanitarian ceasefire which would allow aid to be delivered and brought into the Gaza Strip. The Turkish government has sent several military cargo planes with food aid, medical aid to Egypt to be delivered into Gaza, but we all know how difficult access is right now, and the Turkish government also says it's negotiating with Hamas for the release of civilian hostages. But so far, these specific Turkish efforts have not yielded any results as far as we know. So I cannot tell you anything new about hostages being potentially released because of Turkish mediation efforts.
That is our Julia Hahn. Many thanks as always.